Today, in our last ever FM23 rebuild, they will be more on FM24. It's going to be Ipswich Town, my local team flying in the championship right now. A very exciting team to obviously make a video on. And today, we're going to give ourselves 5 seasons with the Tractor Boys to see how far we can get in the Premier League. My goal, to get in the Premier League and stay there. Simple as that. But if you guys do enjoy the rebuilds on this channel, smash the like button, be sure to subscribe, and also comment below what FM24 rebuilds you want to see, because there are going to be loads done that year. I'm sure your team will get selected. But let's go ahead and actually get into it. So then, Ipswich Town, they are predicted to finish 21st in the Sky Bet Championship. Obviously doing a lot better in real life, that is definitely for certain. My aim is to get playoffs promotion. However I get up, I want to get up into the Premier League in the first season. Will it happen? I'm not too sure. Obviously, in terms of their facilities, they're not going to be maxed out compared to the last video we done, which I think was a Spurs rebuild. We've got 2-star training, 2-star youth, 1.5-star youth, and 1-star junior. So definitely a little bit of work to be done in that sort of area of the club, that is to be for sure. Obviously, when it comes to the finances as well, we are going to be looking at only £2 million, so I highly doubt we're going to bring in anyone. If we do, it'll be 1 or 2 people, tops, in this first transfer window. But if you have seen the rebuilds on this channel, I'm a person which is very keen to play with the team we originally have, and we have got some good players in this team anyway. So for those that don't know, Brandon Williams actually is on loan from Manchester United, which is a fantastic fullback to have in the Championship. Alongside of that, Big Axel Twanzebe, also contracted to Ipswich Town. I think he actually made the permanent move from Manchester United. He is a fantastic centre-half to have in the Championship, and to be honest, is Premier League quality. Connor Chaplin might not be in your top 10 world ever players, but can definitely do it in the Championship. Got fantastic attributes in the game as well. Quite quick, but the 15 finishing is the selling point. But in terms of the transfer guys for the first season, I'm not going to make any additional ones in my opinion. We also have Dane Scarlett, obviously, and Hutchinson, both on loan. There is a lot of loan business being done from this team. Obviously, we've also got George Hurst, a player which I've not discussed, who is also a really decent option on this game. I used him actually in my Ipswich Town save, which I was live streaming, which, by the way, we are now going to be live streaming again over on Twitch and on here at the same time, so definitely follow the Twitch if you are interested. But this guy can also be a bit of a bagsman. We've got a load of players going out, but we're not too worried about that because we overall do have a really solid team. So we're going to go in with that team and actually see what we can do. This is going to be the first team for Season 1. We're going to roll out with a 4-3-3. I will go over the tactic right at the end of the video, or maybe a little bit before, because we are going to sort of see how we sort of change it as we go through, to be honest, so I can't give you an exact point. We are going to have, obviously, the goalkeeper, a back 4, 3 in midfield, left winger, right winger, striker. Nice and simple. I think Ipswich Town can play this way. We don't need to have a 5 at the back. We're not that bad in the Championship. So I'm hoping, first season, let's aim for promotion. Let's get into it. Well then, guys, we've done exactly what I wanted to do. We have got promotion in a playoff final against Blackburn. And it actually did go down to penalties, which we are going to see. Of course, we're going to watch the goals quickly just to see how we conceded, what happened on. Did we go 2-0 down? We didn't. It was actually 1-1. A great finish there from Hurst, by the way. And we actually do take the lead here, I believe, in 2-1 fashion. Harness through. Beautiful finish from the right-hand side. Obviously, they do equalise quite very late on into the game. What a heartbreaking way this would have been to obviously stay in the Championship. We do save their first penalty. Evan misses as well. It's absolute shock and penalties. That's 3 missed in a row. Jackson finally scores, who is injured, by the way. Shock and penalties from Blackburn, and Broadhead, I believe, misses scores. Wharton scores as well, but obviously we are favoured. We win it on 3-1 fashion, and to be honest, the game, they dominated the game. They dominated the game in terms of possession and the XG, to be honest with you, but we come out on top. That's all I care about. Now, in terms of the other competitions, it wasn't as elegant, we'll say. Wasn't as elegant. I have just noted, by the way, George Hurst has scored 40 league goals, which is incredible for him. The FA Cup, Newcastle United, am I annoyed? No. Carabao Cup, Chelsea, am I annoyed? No. 2 absolute giant teams, not to be expected to be beating them at this stage of the save. Plymouth Argyle, possibly we should be beating, in my opinion, but do you know what? We've been promoted. That's all that matters. But looking over some of these players then, boys, I mean, George Hurst, 48 goals. He carried the goal load by quite some amount, to be honest with you, as Connor Chaplin only chips in 12. And below from that, it is literally nobody. So George Hurst comes out massively and puts the team on his back and carries us to a promotion. I mean, let's look at him because he must have improved a little bit. Do you know what? In terms of his stats, he doesn't even look that much improved, to be honest with you. He's still in contract for quite a few more years. Is he going to do it in the Premier League? I am not sure, to be honest with you. We'll definitely have a little bit of thinking to do about that one. But do you know what? For a championship season, you're not going to get much better than 48 goals in the season. Absolutely incredible. In terms of the assisters, we've got Connor Chaplin, we've got Wes Burns, we've got Humphreys, we've got Brandon Williams coming in as well with 7. We've got 18, 13, 11, 7, 6, 6. Leif Davis, by the way, a player which I didn't hype up at the start of the video. I'm a big fan of him. He does seem to be a little bit on the decline in terms of the arrows going downwards, but overall he is an absolute baller. And I am happy with these stats. The only bit of concern I've got is if Hurst doesn't perform in the Premier League, we are not going to score goals. And this tells me we need to spend how much? £50 million, I believe that's the max. £50 million that we have got from promotion to bolster that attack a little bit, because defensively, let's just have a double check. We weren't that bad. 3rd best, but considering we got promotion, we were only the 9th best at scoring. So that's clearly where we need to improve. So let's head over to the second transfer window. So then, we are going to have 2 pages of transfers to discuss, and we're going to go over the first page right now, as there are going to be no players leaving on this page right now. The way I analysed the players that we got rid of, by the way, is simply if they were aging, if they weren't really performing, or if their contracts are obviously coming to an end. And I do want to bring in more sort of proven players into this team that I believe have got a more of a future at Ipswich Town. And to start with, there's no better place to go than the Premier League proven player. That is going to be Baptiste, I believe is how you say that. Batiste, I do not want to butcher it, but I probably have, and he is going to be a great option for midfield. He cost us not too much either. He's not on a ridiculous wage for Premier League players either. And this guy also has got a little bit of potential in the can as well. And what I like about him is he's very versatile in the midfield. He can play several roles in that midfield. He's got a very well-rounded, balanced sort of set of attributes. And 26 years of age, he's not young, but at the end of the day, you also need that little bit of experience in a team. Up next, from Bournemouth for £15.5 million, is going to be Dango Atara from Bournemouth, as mentioned. And this guy, again, is a very exciting and young winger who has got, again, 4.5-star potential on the right-hand side. Definitely more suited just to the right-hand side, but he could play on the left or up front if required. And what I really like about him is already he has got very good attributes, but he can grow into an absolute demon. Let's just say that. And I hope having a little bit more of a slightly more pacey option on the wing and just add another player to the wing in terms of depth is going to help us when it comes to scoring goals and obviously creating chances, because the Premier League is going to be much more of a step up compared to the Championship. See some of the players going here as well. That is obviously going to be Cameron Stewart, Luango, Bort, Hesse, and also Morsey. They all go on the free, and that's because either they didn't want a new contract, I wasn't happy with them, they weren't developing, or simply they just had no future. So then players are going to be going, hence why we have brought in quite a few players. Additionally, 2 more to the 2 we've just discussed. The first one is going to be from Cremonse, I believe so you say. That's going to be Emmanuel for £9.5 million. And this guy's just an absolute animal. He can play centre-back, he can play right-back. To be honest with you, he can play both positions very comfortably. His attributes suit both of them. I imagine he's going to get put out to right back because we actually have got some decent centre-backs. But again, he's quite quick for a full-back. Great determination, 14 tackling, fairly determined, 23 years of age. Do I need to go on? Not really. He's perfect for the Premier League and also can grow a little bit more in terms of his potential. So do you know what? I am buzzing to have him at the club. As you probably saw a second ago, I've not fully backed Hurst when it comes to the Premier League. I don't think he's going to be able to 100% have that same goal scoring ratio. It would be challenging to do. I mean, practically impossible. So I brought in Rian Brewster, who I never knew was actually now Turkish. Never knew that happened, but do you know what? We love to see it. And with him, this is a player who I know he's been a bit all over the shop. He has got a Champions League medal, I will say that. But I think he is going to be more of a sort of goal-getter in the Premier League. 16 finishing, 16 determination, great technique, decent composure, reasonably quick as well, and again, still has potential. He is 24, so I guess the argument you guys could be making is, Josh, you're not signing people that are like 18, 19, really prepping for the future. But the first season in the Premier League is such a gamble to sign 18 to 19-year-olds. You need players that actually have done it before, have been around football for a few years, and this lad has been. So then, according to the game, this is going to be the best selection of team. And this is going to be Walton, Awu, Twanzebe, Wolfenden, Davis, Humphreys, Taylor. Batiste, Chaplin, Burns and Brewster. Obviously, we look to the bench and we now have a very restricted bench, so arguably I should have brought some more players in, maybe not spent as much on the big names, so I might promote some players from the under-21s to definitely try and add a little bit of depth to that. But realistically, first season, in the Premier League, do I think we can stay up? Oh, it's a good question. It's a good question. I'm going to go yes, but I think it's going to be by the skin of our teeth. I look at this team and I think it can get a goal. Can it be any of the top 10 teams? Probably not. I'm going to be honest with you. I am quite nervous about this one, but let's go into the second season and see what happens. Oh my God. We have just about survived the Premier League, and it is by 2 points. Wolves, Sunderland, Forest go down to the Championship. We stayed up by 2 points. Absolutely incredible. The stats are not incredible though. 34 league goals scored. That is shambolic. That is awful. Goals conceded coming in at 68 as well. The second worst in the league. We're not even going to pay attention to the FA Cup, etc. because that is not the focus at the moment. I do want to quickly say though, it is still a bit of an achievement. So we are still in the Premier League. So if you are enjoying the video, smash the like button. It helps the video get found. And also do subscribe and turn on notifications. And I do want to quickly plug it as well because I know a lot of you guys are going to be playing this game. I am going to be giving away a copy of FIFA 24, EAFC 24, don't shoot me, on the Patreon. So if you do want to check out the Patreon, you can by clicking the link in the description. There's also over 7 perks you get from joining up, so be sure to check it out. But going over this then, I've got to look at the data hub right away because it's got to be ugly. Ooh. Under a goal a game. I don't usually see that, but I was a bit nervous with this team. I'm going to be honest, I was very nervous going into the Premier League season. I very rarely am, to be honest with you. In terms of the squad, it can't be looking pretty. I mean, oh, this is bad. This might be titled the worst rebuild ever. I mean, we're looking at a sinking ship, guys. We are looking at a sinking ship. Ryan Brewster, to be fair to him, 19 goals in the Premier League in his debut season isn't too bad. 7 goals is the second place. I mean, what's happened here is I've let too many players go and I have brought in too many bigger players and not had a big enough squad. That's clearly what's happened here because this team looks tiny. And I mean, in terms of the assists as well, oh my days, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. This has not been a good season. I can only hope, and I am praying, if there is a God, please let me have at least 30 million. Oh no. Oh no. 3.6. No, it's because we're not further enough. Okay, we're not far enough into the sort of the simulation to get next season's budget. I nearly had a heart attack. If we had 3 million, the rebuild would be written off because this team needs money and a lot of it. So I'm going to sim a little bit further. I'll come back in the next transfer window because I need to go and spend a solid 40 minutes trying to figure out this mess because the schedule must have looked brutal. Oh, it's a lot of red. It's a lot of red. How crucial was this win on the last game of the season, by the way? And the draw against Tottenham. I mean, absolutely mental. Who did we beat? We beat Liverpool 4-2. Okay, so we can beat some of the big teams then. But other than that, we just got absolutely peppered. It might be the formation. It might be too attacking. I'm going to go and plan out something because we need help. So we actually had a very similar budget to that second transfer window. And I've spent big and I have strengthened the back line and I've tried to strengthen everywhere, to be honest with you. But that argument I had with you about we want to bring in more players than quality players, it's okay, it is logical. But also we are in the Premier League now. If we bring in average players, guess where we're going? Back to the Sky Bet Championship. So I had to bring in some big players, which I'm now going to run through, starting off with a bit of a Football Manager legend. It's going to be Zabrani. £24 million this centre-half cost me from Bournemouth, but do you know what? He is a Premier League defender, and he can still grow. In terms of his stats, I am more than thrilled to have him in the team. He will definitely get in that first team, and hopefully, at the age of 22, he can lead the back line, because we were shocking, absolutely abysmal in the Premier League defensively and attacking. To be honest, we were a complete mess. So I'm hoping this guy can come in, cement the back four a little bit, and hopefully keep a few more clean sheets than we were keeping, because that was definitely one of our weakest points. Next is going to be Andrew a Bamdelay, I believe is how you say that. A Bomdelay, I do not want to butcher his name. He cost us £8 million from Nottingham Forest. And again, this is going to be another defensive player. And just look at him. Very similar to Zabrani in terms of his age. 1 year older, but he has got utter potential. 15 tackling. He's also very, very quick. Great composure. These two at the back are more than ready for the Premier League. Now, my only concern is he's obviously only played at some smaller clubs. Nottingham Forest and Norwich. He's not played for a big team. Is that because he's only 23? Probably. Am I overthinking it? Potentially. But I'm just hoping that him and Zabrani can come in, form a partnership. Obviously, we've still got Tuanzebe, so they are going to be alterating in between games, so they're going to have to build different link-ups, different partnerships. But hopefully these two central defenders can lock off that back four. Up next is going to be Sam McCallum, coming in from Sunderland, I believe for £8.5 million. We will double check that just before we get off his player profile. A fantastic wing-back, purely to add depth to Leif Davis as well, and he might even potentially get in the first team. I mean, he is absolutely rapid, great tackling, a very well-balanced and well-rounded wing-back who can also play full-back and even go as far up to be, you know, getting on for a complete wing-back and really pushing up the field. 24 years of age, again, can grow in his position, 43 grand a week, potentially a little bit too much to be at the club, but I needed a backup fullback / a competitor for Leif Davis, and this guy was the only option really. When you finish one place above relegation in the Premier League, I don't know if you guys have done it before, but I can't stress how hard it is to sign world-class players. You essentially can't, so you have to take exactly what you can get. In terms of his history, yeah, £8.5 million, so we've definitely not overspent. Sunderland paid £7 million for him, but he has played he's played a lot of low league football and he's been at small clubs. So again, similar to the centre-half we just signed, it's to be expected though the position we're in the Premier League. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's down to us to get the best out of him. Next is going to be this absolute unit in midfield, French midfielder who's young. That is always a tick box, you know. They're always incredible at the end of the day, and that is why we have picked this lad up. Again, he's got potential. He's not world-class, don't get me wrong. What I am a big fan of is multiple things. He's 23, quite young for a player typically who I like to sign. He's very well-rounded in midfield. Is he world-class? No, not by any means the imagination. Is he versatile? Yes. He can cover practically any position in the midfield. He can even play deeper positions as well. And to be honest, we've got a bit of a limited budget. We need a player that can cover at least 2 or 3 positions. This guy can cover the entire midfield. So he's literally perfect. And the other great thing about him as well is he has played at some decent teams. Overall, I'm not going to look at his stats too much because, you know, they're not the best of the best. But he's played in the Belgian League. He's played for Palace, played in the Premier League before, played for Stuttgart, played for Juventus. You know, he's played for some quite decent teams in his career so far. Still very young, of course. And I do think just having that experience in different leagues and also the Premier League as well is actually quite a good move for us to try and pull a player like this. So hopefully he can get into the first team, but we'll have to see. Up next, and another Brentford boy, that is going to be Kevin Schlade. Now, this guy, 23 years of age, and he looks absolutely sensational. Again, remember what I said literally about 2 minutes ago, basically. We are looking for players that can cover at least 2 positions. This guy can play on the left, play up front, play on the right. He is literally the perfect player. Sort of like a João Pedro, where he can play anywhere in the front four, as this guy can as well, play in the middle. Now, for me, I would personally play him up front. I think he's got really good statistics, really good attributes, whatever you want to say, to play in that role. Again, 16 acceleration, 16 pace. Now, his composure, we're going to work on. We're going to train these lads up, make them a little bit better, because that is where he needs to work on. So maybe he will play as a winger for the first couple of seasons. Who knows? But at the end of the day, he offers a lot in any of these positions, out wide or going through the middle. The only position I really don't fancy him in too much is going to be in the middle here, but we'll see what happens. But with this player, again, he's played majority of his football, to be honest, quite a few seasons in Germany. He is German, to be fair to him, but that season in Brentford was the real deal breaker for me. I want to get a player that has played in the Premier League before, and although it's not that much of time in England, to be fair to him, and he's not had the best performances, we got him for a bit of a good price, to be honest. They spent 21 million. They lost 7 million on him, and hopefully we can punish him for that and actually have a really good player. But obviously, previous to that, it's always been German football for him, so can he play in the Premier League? Let's find out. Now, filtering by that best 11, this is not my necessarily best 11. What the game thinks, we're going to have Walton, Awu, Zabrani, Tuanzebe, McCallum, Humphreys, Batiste, Taylor, Atara, Schlade, and Brewster. Which means that obviously some of these new boys, the likes of, where is he gone? I am blind by the looks of it. Where's the midfield player we signed? I can't see him. I clearly am blind. But some of these players we have gone out and signed. So, for example, the centre-back we signed isn't even going to get into the team filtered by the best 11, which is always going to be an interesting debate because Tuanzebe is honestly a very, very good centre-half. Look at the teams he has played for, by the way. Absolutely incredible at the age he is. Love to see it. He's 27, actually. For some reason, I thought he was 25, but hey-ho, we live and learn, don't we? That's what we love to do on this channel, live and learn. But do you know what? The bench is looking a lot more attractive now. This is the player I was on about who we signed at centre-half. He is going to be sort of a bench player, which I wasn't expecting. But do you know what? With this system, I am hoping we can now start to slowly progress up the league table, possibly finish inside the top 15. Am I being delusional? Let's go and find out. Let's get into the third season. Right. The third season has been simulated and it is very minute growth, very small growth as we finish 2 places above relegation, and that's actually on goal difference compared to Everton. As Southampton, Leicester and Sheffield do go down, I'm definitely going to try and poach some of their players if any want to come, or if they're actually any good, to be honest with you. It's going to be Arsenal who win the league, finally. There you go, Arsenal fans. Manchester United finish in second. Anybody that's linked to Manchester United watching this video, I highly doubt you will be. Can you take some inspiration from the game, try and actually win a game? It'll be very nice. It would be very nice to me. But do you know what? This third season, mixed emotion. Mixed emotion. I personally felt like we signed enough players to really get inside the top 15, which I guess is it's a little bit pathetic me saying that because we are literally 1 position off it. And, you know, but it's 4 points at the end of the day. It's not an ideal season. I always keep it realistic with you guys on this channel. I knew this was going to be a difficult rebuild. Our discipline is a big issue, by the way, coming in with 99 yellow cards, which we're definitely going to go and sort out. Goals conceded, we're actually okay with. 7th worst. Is that okay? Not really. It's not okay, is it? I mean, there's a lot of stuff to work on. I'm looking at the stats, trying to make myself feel better, but we simply need to improve, and I think it comes down, I need to finally tweak this tactic. This tactic obviously is made for a much more dominant team, and I feel like this team we've got now, although it's somewhat decent, it's not quite the level it needs to be at to play this way. Going over to the squad then, we'll have a little look. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. It's absolutely shocking. 21 goals from Brewster, then the drop-off comes down to 8. I cannot get this Ipswich Town team to cook. I can't get them to cook at all. It's tough. It's really tough, to be honest with you guys. Yeah, 21 goals from Brewster. I mean, he's carrying the bulk load, but even that's not enough, you know. And in terms of the assists, again, we've got a highest coming in at 8. It really is not good enough. I mean, money can get you so far in football, but you also need to, obviously, you need to link up on the field. You need chemistry. You need something, and clearly, we've not got that. I mean, the finances are going to look very generous. I don't know why they keep giving us this money. Maybe it's Ed Sheeran sponsorship money. I don't know what it is, but do you know what? £63 million, I think this 4th season's make or break. I need to see a significant improvement. I'm talking from 16th minimum, and I mean minimum 12th. It needs to be 12th for us next season because it's just ugly. It's just ugly. We've not even got anywhere really impressive in the cups. We're not really made too much progress. And I know this is just our 2nd season in the Premier League, but we've spent over 100 million, guys. It needs to start working. It needs to start clicking. Let's go into that 4th transfer window. Yeah, I've not messed about in this transfer window. I have not messed about. I have signed players which I think are capable of potentially even being a top 8 sort of player. A top player in a top 8 team, I mean. Not actually a top 8 player in the Premier League. And we're now going to get into them, so let's crack on with it. I think you guys are going to be excited. And if this doesn't push us up the table, I am clearly a fraud. The first player is going to be Anjorin, I believe is how you say that. Obviously, a Chelsea boy, played for Pompey, played for Loc. That is a crazy play in Moscow. and Chelsea and Huddersfield. Played for some big teams, to be fair to him, and never really got the shot, to be honest with you, at Chelsea. And I do feel like in this team, although he might not be guaranteed first team football, he can play in that midfield to quite a good degree. He can play out wide, and to be honest with you, he was more of a player brought into cover positions because we have spent big in other areas, so I needed sort of a versatile player that sort of makes up for not bringing in more players, if that makes sense. Again, 24 years of age, he's still got potential on him as well, which I'm a big fan of. And his history, he cost us, actually, he was on the free. That's why I signed him. I completely forgot. He was on the free. That is why we signed him. I knew there was a reason why I exactly wanted him. He was simply a free agent. How have I forgot that? So to be fair, on the free, we have got a player who's actually worth between 15 to 18 million. So I could now even sell him going forward and turn a profit. But we're going to try and get something out of him. £50 million. We're going to welcome in Jacob Ramsey. This man excites me. That sounds strange. This man excites me when he plays football. Honestly, an absolute joy to watch in that Villa team. By the way, Villa in general, such a fun team to watch nowadays. And I genuinely believe this guy can make the difference. An absolute baller in midfield. 25 years of age now, of course. Played for Southampton, played for Villa, and you know what? I'm absolutely buzzing to call him an Ipswich Town player, and I'm hoping what he can provide in terms of his nicely well-rounded attributes to come in the midfield and offer us something a little bit different and just make us somewhat decent. Please, Jacob. Up next is going to be Sarr, previously of Tottenham Hotspur. We should all know him. Quite a good bit of potential on the lad, to be fair. In midfield, again, we are really strengthening that midfield now because we were very weak in that area, in my opinion. We've got a lot of backup players now as well, which is always good to see. And I'm hoping that can be where we dominate. The midfield is very important in any 4-3-3. And I'm hoping this is now going to be where we can come out, and that's what we're known for. They've got such a good midfield. We create through the midfield. We've got players that can track back, help defend. That's where I've really prioritised the transfers through. That's where I've tried to strengthen the most. So I'm hoping with these 3 additions, all midfield players, they can really help me do this, of course. 23 years of age, still got tons of potential. In terms of his transfer fee, we are looking at 16, not 30, and I got that wrong. £16.7 million from Tottenham Hotspur. Is it a gamble? Kind of, but then no, because I can't go out and sign players like, I don't know, Sabosloy, for example. I can't go out and sign these world-class players because we're not even that far off relegation. I can only really attract players like this who are good, but let's just say more of a gamble. Well, the transfers don't stop there, though. We bring in Bergstrom from Chelsea. Again, we conceded so many goals. I looked at the keeper and I was like, he's a bit of an issue. And this guy looks a bit of an issue as well, in a good way. 20 aerial reach, great communication, great jump and reach. He is just he's just massive. He's an absolute unit in the goal. Still very young at 23 years of age. Can obviously grow a little bit in terms of potential as well. And again, he has played in the Premier League, which is a massive advantage. Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. I feel like he is definitely going to get into the first team and hopefully keep out a few of the goals our previous keeper was conceding. But of course, you bring a new goalkeeper in, you got to bring in someone to help him stop them goals going in. That's going to be one of my personal favourites of FM in general. Bella Ketchup, let's just say that. Honestly, this guy I am such a fan of. An absolute gem in every save I've used. He cost me a fair bit, don't get me wrong, but what you're getting is a 4-star ability centre-back with the potential to grow as well, and he is just so well-rounded. 14 tackling, good jumping, very quick as well, and I'm surprised he even joined, to be honest. He does cost us 74 grand a week to have at the club, but a player of this calibre, you can expect that, to be honest with you. And it's as simple as that. You pay for what you get. He can also cover right back, but not to a great degree. So definitely going to be playing centre back for us. His history as a player has been a lot of German football, a little bit of Dutch, Southampton, Leicester. And to be fair, quite a consistent price tag. We paid about £500,000 less than Leicester paid from Southampton. So do you know what? I think that's a very fair price tag. Quite a lot of money for us, but we need to bring these players in. It's going to be the team which apparently is the best 11. We're going to filter it, and this is what it is. It's going to be Bergstrom, Awu, Kotchap, Tuanzebe, McCallum, Humphreys, Ramsey, Angerin, Schlade, Atara, Brewster. Do I agree with all of that? No, I don't agree with all of that. I think some of that midfield could definitely be tweaked a little bit, and hopefully it will be. I might even lock a few players in there, to be honest with you. Atara possibly not even out wide now to be the rank 1 player out there. Brewster up top, still clear favourite, because I'm really backing him, because although he's not scoring 30 goals a season, You have to look at the entire picture, guys. We're not creating chances. We're getting so little assists. No other player is scoring 10 or more goals. Without Brewster, we'd be back in the Championship by now. So we have to give him credit. And with this team now, with this bench, which you can see now, please, I mean, there's no reason why we can't finish 10th. 10th would be ideal. There's no reason why we can't finish 10th in this 4th season. Let's go ahead and do it and see what happens. Well, that season has been simulated, guys, and do you know what? I don't know what to think of this rebuild because I knew it was going to be hard. But do you know what? I want a 10th. I am not gutted by 12th because, I mean, there's not many points difference between Bournemouth as well, which would have made us finish in 11th. If you look at the schedule, I think it's fair to say we ended the season very well. If you look from, I mean, let's look from this point downwards. We're talking a 1-0 win against Liverpool, a point against Tottenham. We battered Forest. We lost to Arsenal, which isn't too bad. We drew against Man City, which is incredible. We beat Leeds, we beat Fulham, we beat Villa, we beat United. We lost against Palace, horrific. And we drew against Chelsea. So there's definitely that side now where we are scoring, obviously, goals against the big teams. And we're not even conceding that many either. Like, even the defeats. Arsenal, 2-1. Palace, 2-1. Yes, up here, 4-3, but that's just a mental game in general. But, I mean, we are definitely becoming a little bit stronger. That is definitely something I'm noticing. So, I have got faith in this rebuild, and I think we can do something with it. But in terms of the squad, we are going to see... I want to cry. I physically want to cry. I mean, we're seeing an improvement from Brewster. This guy here, I mean, his stats don't even look that much better, to be honest with you, but he is scoring quite a fair few goals now. 34 goals in a season. Atara coming in with 11. 8 coming in for Shade. Ramsey coming in with 6. But when there's few goals, there's also few assists. You know, Batiste coming in with 7. 13 for Shade. Humphreys with 8. 7 for Atara. Ramsey with 6. 6 for Brewster. It's limited. It's limited amounts of assists, but do you know what? It's got to be, because we're not scoring enough goals. So this is still by far the biggest issue we've got. And I think this, honestly, is the issue to why we're not even getting into the top 10. Because we still can't seem to score enough goals going forward. Defensively, how bad were we? 9th best. So, I mean, that's not bad, to be honest. We finished in 12th. 9th best when it comes to defending. So, defensively, I think we're a lot more solid. But attacking is clearly where we need to sign some players. And we have got a budget of £55 million to do so. So, I think, realistically, that's going to be where we go. That's where we need to strengthen. That's going to be the aim. Let's go into the 5th transfer window. Spend. Potentially bringing in 3 players. Unfortunately, Zabrani has gone to PSG for £42.5 million, so we did turn a tidy profit on him. I didn't want to sell him, but the board just let him go. To be honest, I think he was just going to run down his contract anyway, so it's a big loss, but I guess it did fund a little bit more of our transfer business. First player we bring in is going to be Sarmento, coming in from Girona, or technically Manchester City. I believe he went out on loan there, if I'm right in saying. And this guy is just going to be another option on the wing. That's clearly where we're struggling on the wings. They're not even creating chances for the strikers. They're not scoring goals. They're not doing anything, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping this guy can come in, create a little bit more chances here and there, and hopefully we can go from there and see what happens. But do you know what? As long as he contributes sort of 10 assists, something like that, it's going to help naturally. And this guy, again, he's not the youngest of the youngest players, but he does offer something. Not even that much on a week either. 34 grand a week for a player that has got not the best finishing. He is definitely a winger. I think that's comfortable in saying. Decent crossing, good vision, good off the ball, quite quick, good agility, and of course has played for some decent teams. Never knew he went to Burnley on loan though. Very interesting. But you know what? I'm hoping this is a correct signing. He cost us 11 million, so not a massive amount of money, but definitely enough to want to see some returns. Now, I might get roasted for this signing, but I do think that maybe this team needs some experience, and although he's a midfield player, that is going to be Højbjerg. He comes in for around about £7.5 million, 31 years of age. He is going to cost us only 36 grand to have at the club as well, per week, and his attributes are still very, very good for a 31-year-old. I mean, his work rate's good, his determination's great, aggression's there, great fitness, great stamina. he's pretty much got everything I'd want from a deeper midfield player who's going to work hard for the team. Obviously, he has played majority of his career at Tottenham Hotspur, and that is a very big club in England, despite me wanting to laugh saying that. They are a big team in England, and therefore I think bringing him in is going to be a great addition. So welcome, Højbjerg. And have you ever heard of the saying, throw all your eggs in one basket? It's what we've done with Fabio Carvalho. Obviously, the former Liverpool man, obviously then went to a club in the United Arab Emirates. This is a gamble. It's a big gamble. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of this player in real life. I do like him. It's hard not to like someone that's played for Leipzig, in my opinion. I'm a big Leipzig fan. Therefore, I was keen to get this guy, and in terms of his attributes alone, you look at him and you think, do you know what? He's going to be mustard. He's going to be good. He can play on the left, which obviously is a good bonus for us. He can play in the middle. He can play on the right. Every position he plays is where we need to improve. So it makes so much sense signing a player like this. 24 years of age, again, can grow a little bit in terms of his potential, but you are technically signing a sort of pre-made player, in my opinion, because he already is very well-rounded. Now, is this going to work? I honestly don't know. Do I think you've got to take gambles in football? Yes, you've got to take gambles, and we have taken a £23.5 million gamble. Now, to you guys that have got a save with Manchester City, with Newcastle, you might think, oh, it's only 20 million. For Ipswich Town, that's a lot of money to be spending on a player. So a lot of pressure on this lad's shoulders. I'm expecting him to come into this team and instantly 15 assists, 10 goals minimum. I want him firing on all cylinders the second he gets here. So hopefully he does that. But it's all going to come down to just to how he forms and how he gels in the team. And going over to that team, the tactics page is going to look like this. This is going to be the final best 11 according to the game. It's going to be Bergstrom, Awu, Bella Kotchap, Twanzebe, McCallum, Humphreys, Højbjerg, Ramsey, Carvalho, Schlade and Brewster. Now, we've also got a very good bench here. I think that's fair to say. Now, this team, I cannot see how it can't get inside of that top 10. I really can't see how it can't get inside the top 10. And yeah, I'm going to be mind blown if it doesn't, because I actually look at this team now and I'm like, do you know what? The only possible weak position, maybe the goalkeeper still, maybe the right back, but the rest of the team is looking really good now. So let's get into that 5th season, and I'm praying top 10. Guys, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. 11th place is where we're finished, and we actually missed out on 10th by 7 points. So I'm not going to sit here and say, guys, it was so close, because it wasn't that close. 9 points, obviously, that is 3 wins. 9 points, am I actually blind? 7 points, should I say. That's 2 wins and a draw, obviously, at the end of the day. And we were... I'm going to be honest, it's quite... I don't want to say this, but it's quite nice doing a rebuild that has been this challenging, because it's sort of like... It's not as easy as like when you rebuild Newcastle, and it's been quite a punishing experience, you know. I failed to get Ipswich Town into the top 10 in 5 seasons, which sounds really bad, and that's why I never claimed to be an expert at rebuilds, but from an entertainment point of view, an entertainment perspective, I think this would be quite fun to watch, because it's not going to be too obvious with the result that happens. Now, all I'm going to say is, I want to quickly say this before you click off the video. If you want to take over this save, I am going to upload this to the Patreon. So if you want to get this save file, I'm going to upload it onto there. And please send me screenshots. I'm begging you. Send me screenshots of if you manage to get inside the top 10. That's all I want to know. Because I couldn't. I feel like I've left you with a decent set of staff, a decent set of players. Do let me know. But this last season, guys, it simply wasn't meant to be. Not inside the top 10. The squad we're looking at... I don't even want to look at it. Don't want to look at that again. That's all we've been seeing is 30, then a massive drop-off. It's simply not clicked. The data hub, I imagine, is going to be quite ugly. Over a goal a game, but we're conceding 0.10 more than what we're scoring. That is going to be a natural big issue. If you guys are going to carry on, you have got a budget of £48 million. I will clarify. And this is going to be your team. And the tactic I was using, obviously, you can still use it. It's not actually a bad tactic at all. I just don't feel like this team necessarily suits it. Was the BBC 4-3-3, as you've probably seen. Now, I have tried to tweak this a little bit, but for example, this is actually a good part to get in the video. For those of you that download tactics, this is why you can't always just plug and play a tactic, because if I click on this right here, and I go to pick roles and duties, this is what the player's best playing. Look at the change. It's such a big change. Sometimes you download a tactic, but you need to make your own changes. It's as simple as that. And at the end of the day, maybe I should have paid more attention doing that. I was more focused on bringing in players. So I'm not going to do a complete tactic breakdown, but I will just say it is going to be the BBC 4-3-3, and it is typically a tactic that worked very well with the top teams, but clearly, with a team like this, you need to have more supportive roles in the team. And if you guys are able to tweak this, you're able to obviously try and get inside that top 10, share the results with me. If you have enjoyed the rebuild, obviously it's been like 2 weeks since a rebuild, 3 weeks possibly. Please do show some support by leaving a like on the video, and also drop a little subscription and turn on notifications. But I'll see you boys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.